So, we're going to briefly discuss the topic of innovation, because innovation is part of the domain and the responsibility of the IT demand manager. We have spent this morning discussing a consultative questioning technique which helps you be prepared for meetings with business people. But there will always be the expectation from the business people of ideas, and they will expect somebody to come up with innovative technology-based ideas, and that somebody is you. Yeah? Which means you have to be innovative. So what I'd like you to do now is have a quick innovative idea. Okay, I'll give each of you a card, one brilliantly innovative idea based on the topics that we've been discussing over the past couple of days so far, one great IT innovation. Okay, nice and quickly, 3, 2, 1, go. So what we're going to do is just, I'm going to speak a little bit about innovation regarding the IT demand management role. So I have just asked you to have an innovative idea, and I haven't actually seen anybody having an innovative idea off the top of their heads. And that's normal because innovation takes a little bit of time. I'm sure that if we spent some time thinking about the people that we spoke to this morning, I'm sure that we could come up with some ideas that they have not heard of before. I'm also pretty sure that those ideas would be things that we would pull from our experience in some way or another. After this discussion, we will move on to one of the sources of innovation, which is the reference story and the reference story process. Yeah, so understanding sources of new topics of new solutions from other places where they've been done, where they've been implemented before, your colleagues' ideas. But for now, we're just simply going to focus on the topic of innovation, because I think and I believe that there is a place of innovation where you can go to, which is just around the corner. Yeah. Now, Bayer as an organization, I was hearing today at lunchtime that the Bayer R&D department and the medical department is well known and indeed world famous for being extremely innovative and extremely, groundbreaking and cutting edge when it comes to thinking of new ideas. Yeah. This is, or seems to be, restricted to the R&D space of Bayer, and a lot of the other places seem to have the reverse kind of, I don't think, Bayer as a whole does not jump out as being the most innovative company on the planet. Yeah. More like conservative, rather slower than quicker, maybe a little bit slower in accepting new ideas. And I'm sure that we've all had examples within the system where ideas have taken quite a bit of time to get through, or they get blocked, or it's difficult to get new approaches through. And so we're not hearing anything new here. Yeah, I believe, because I work for a number of different organizations, all of them could benefit from being more innovative, but I think some are definitely more innovative than others. I believe that the world around us and the external environment is a great place to gain innovative ideas. Yeah? As we move through into day 4, there will be a principle within the consulting methodology that says it's impossible to solve a problem from within a problem. You have to go outside the problem in order to get new and fresh sources of ideas in order to solve other problems. Yeah. So based on your internal expertise and internal people, I think it's going to be very challenging and difficult to find new, fresh sources of inspiration for old problems. Not impossible, but difficult. Yeah. However, externally, things are different. Yeah. I'm sure some of you have colleagues who work in other multinational organizations. I'm sure some of you have people who work in IT in other large organizations, and maybe they will have ideas that you don't have within your organization. But the most important for me thing for me is the following. you are in a role of a customer service function. So as an IT professional, as an IT demand manager, you go and speak to an internal customer about their business. For example, you go and speak to a finance director about a finance environment. At this conversation, who is your competitor? Who is your competitor? Okay, so one competitor is the budget, yeah? And the fact that they want to spend that money on something else. That's very, very clear, yeah? Yeah.
Sometimes vendors, because vendors may come up with ideas that we might offer.
Okay, so the vendors are your competitor within that discussion. And this is my point, yeah? IBM would be very interested in the discussion that you are just about to have. Yeah? HP would be more than interested. They would probably pay you for the right to be at that meeting. Yeah? CA, Accenture, Capgemini, Microsoft, and all of the systems integrators would probably give big money to be in the place where you are. This morning you had meetings with 3 people, and I'll be very honest, all of 3 of those discussions were extremely interesting for me, from a sales perspective. I could smell the money. Yeah? I'm not allowed to do anything about it, but you know, the euro signs were swinging in front of me. I could see the potential business there. So your vendors, the vendors who would traditionally be doing this job for you, and let's be in no mistake about this, before you, there was a vendor sitting there. Who did the finance guy call when he needed help understanding IT in the finance environment? He'd call people who he thought would help, and that would be a vendor, that would be a consultant, that would be a subject matter expert from his environment. The guys in production, the same thing. The guys in sales and marketing, the same thing. Yeah? All of the large IT organizations will suggest that they can solve business problems. In fact, that's one of the things that they express within their marketing and within their world. And certainly their salespeople are trained up to ask the same questions that we're asking. And they're trained up to make suggestions, to give proposals, to show value. Okay? So, I'm just trying to position you where you are. Whether you want to be there or not is a different story altogether. Yeah, that's where you are, right? You are at the place where, in a particular meeting, your competitor is an Accenture, a Pricewaterhouse, an IBM, a Cognos provider, a systems integrator, a local value-added reseller, yeah, of licenses and software and services. Those are your unseen competitors. Yeah? So, have a look at the following scenario. Imagine, just imagine, you have a meeting with a finance executive. They speak to you for 40-45 minutes. And during those 45 minutes, you collect a lot of information and you have a very good conversation, and you do a good job of step 1, and you create a good feeling and rapport, and you've got a clear mandate to go back and to continue this discussion. You give them the feeling that you know what you're talking about, because you do know what you're talking about. You give them the secure feeling that you're going to come back to them with solutions. And you leave the office and you say, oh bugger, what am I going to do now? Because you haven't got any ideas in your mind about what a potential solution could look like. So now, imagine the following situation. You go back to your office and you say, where am I going to get a couple of innovative solutions from? So you look at the phone and you just kind of pick it up and you say, IBM? I've got a question for you. Just wondering if somebody could come along and have a chat with me about a particular topic. And they say, yes, sounds very interesting. Who's speaking, please? Oh, buyer. I beg your pardon? Buyer. We do aspirin. Yeah, we know what you do. When would you like us to come, sir? How many presents would you like us to bring with us, sir? No, presents, not compliant. Yeah? Suffice to say, they will be there. How quickly will they be there? Is there any of them that will say no? No, not on this planet. You are who you are. You pick up the phone and request a meeting with a salesperson, you're going to get it. Have a look at the following scenario. Hi IBM, I'm the demand manager for this particular section of the business, and I'm trying to understand a particular business request that I've got. Guys, I'll be very honest with you, there's not going to be any business in this for you, but I still would like to know what the IBM approach to this solution would be. Do you think they're going to say no? They're going to say, no problem. And why are they going to say that? Because you've got a contract with HP. You're on their list. Win back. You're on their list of strategic people that we want to get to know and to build relationship with over the next 2 to 3 years. Right? So in both of these situations, and maybe if you don't want to go the big route, then you go the small route. You're phoning a local consultant and saying, hi guys, we're buyer. And they say, yeah, we know, we can see the number. We can see your building actually. We'd like to speak to somebody about potential solutions in this area. They say, we'll be there. We'll come. It's very unlikely that you'll get any business out of this. No problem, sir. We would like to have the opportunity to present ourselves and our company. Okay? So what I'm suggesting is, I'm not suggesting, I'm saying that your usage of the external vendor market is an amazing advantage that you have. And you have to use it. And you have to use it within a specific environment. They belong to companies whose job it is to create solutions to fix your internal company's business needs and solutions. You're going to find ideas. You're going to find cutting-edge solutions. You're going to find what's hot, what's not. You're going to find the things that are fashionable, the things that are not so fashionable. You're going to get proposals. You're going to get 2, 3, 4, 5 ideas. If you want, you'll have more ideas than you can cope with, but you'll definitely have what the mainstream environment says is the solution for a particular problem area. And it doesn't matter what department you walk into. Yeah? You can even find providers for people from medical, from sales and in marketing, from production facilities, from HR, from call centers, from logistics and supply chain, from distribution, whatever it happens to be. There is a network of vendors who will be more than happy to speak to you about the things that you need to speak about. So the question that we began with was innovation. I'm not sure that you guys were hired because of your innovative capacity, right? Maybe it's like, oh, Tim, no, you're wrong. I was hired because I have 15 ideas every second and all of them are genius. I should actually be a Nobel Prize winner. I'm not, of course, but I should be. Yeah? So, you're probably not there. You're hired for IT expertise, for project management expertise, for the ability to bridge from business ideas to IT ideas. Probably not because you're brain box bananas with great spatial thinking on innovative ideas to change the world, right? So that's not part of the brief, but the business thinks you are. The business thinks that's what you should be. The business has that expectation of you. Because when you say to a business person, whose job is it to be innovative in IT? They'll say, well, give me the list of the options. IT demand manager. That will do. So you've had this label painted onto your forehead and you have to deliver. There is no, I can't do that, because you'll be assessed down as a result of that. Yeah? So use your external vendor environment. Your job is equally to create relationship to them over time so that you find the people who can bring you good innovation and good innovative ideas. You create a network of vendors around your environment who you can call in for specific things. Let's face it, if you like what they do, you'll find a way that they can get business. Yeah, that's part of the deal as well. They are useful for the purpose of innovation and for the purpose of bringing fresh ideas into the organization. Okay? So, one small topic before we move into our discussion on the reference story is another one that's very close to my heart, and that is the topic of knowledge and the potential of losing knowledge within an organization. Yeah? So, in my understanding, I'm not really 100% sure that I understand everything exactly perfectly correctly, but my knowledge is that certain elements of Bayer's IT have been outsourced. So they are no longer run by Bayer people. They're run by third-party agencies, they're run by systems integrators, they're run by vendors. Yeah? And while I think that this makes a huge amount of sense from the perspective of getting rid of the work that is not really part of your core competence, I'm also pretty worried about the fact that losing this knowledge and losing the closeness to this knowledge also means you lose a great potential. I don't want to say too much about being interested in systems management and applications and hardware. Yeah, but actually that's exactly what I want to say, because I do believe that a huge element of power within the IT environment is a very, very close knowledge of what they actually have and what they actually run. Yeah. So if we take Microsoft as an example, somebody else does the implementation of Windows 7 over Windows XP or Windows 8 over Windows 7, which means you guys are far removed from it, which means your knowledge of Microsoft's power and potential decreases over time. Yeah? But it doesn't decrease. Maybe it remains constant. It certainly doesn't increase. You don't become more knowledgeable about the power of Microsoft products over time. Yeah? Maybe it stays at a level, and if it stays at a level, then it decreases, because the level that it stays at becomes a level that is no longer applicable in about 2 or 3 years, and there's no more support for it, so your knowledge is old. Yeah? The power of the software, specifically in Microsoft's case, is huge and vast. The motherboard changes every 2 years. The capability of the motherboard changes so quickly, and the business potential that the whole package enables is just so, it's big. Yeah? And somebody internally must still understand what that is and what that is capable of doing. Yeah? And I'm not just saying it from a Microsoft perspective. While I am a MS user, I'm no real fan. But what I am worried about is that knowledge, real nuts and bolts knowledge about core operating systems, you don't want this to leave a local organization, right? You need somebody who knows. You need somebody who knows the knowledge behind it. And now if we see how many different types of platform or package are within the organization where you have effectively lost control, but the control is still critical. And somebody who has the knowledge is still a critical part of the equation for the IT demand management role. How many times have you gone to speak to a business customer where the demand has been something effectively that is already existing within the basic network and framework of the IT solutions that they have? Yeah? How long is it going to be before you are you're not able to answer the question anymore simply because you don't know? How long is it going to be before you start finding other solutions for things that you don't need to find solutions for because they exist within the package, but you no longer have the power or the knowledge to promote those things because you're removed from the software because you're no longer responsible for maintaining it and servicing it. So this is a very deeper political part of the equation for me. But from a local level, I would definitely be concerned that knowledge of the existing systems needs to remain at a very high level, and I would be concerned that there are people within the organization who are still tasked with doing that. Yeah, so key user programs or key users or key maintenance people, but business people from within the organization who I also maintain relationship to, who are also part of my coverage plan and who also come very much into this key element on step number 2 of mastering your own IT. And making sure that if there's one person in the organization who is a master of localized stuff, it's you and your function.